Hello everyone, it's me, Scarmag04. Jack5 has told me to react to this, so I'm gonna see what's the true deal about it. Now first of all, I'm gonna turn off that ventilation in the background, it's really annoying me. Right, without further ado, let's begin.
Greetings everyone, my name is Jack5 and welcome back. If you watched my last video, you may have heard that I was working on a collab with Dummy. My entry I made like, I don't know, 5 months ago, and it's taken us this long to finally release it, but it's out now. And because I had such heavy involvement with the production of the collab, I felt that it would be a good idea for me to just put some director's commentary on my channel.
Good for you.
In this video, I will be talking about the changes that were made during the production and all the stuff that went down as the video plays. And this is definitely the first time that I've ever done anything like this. So excuse me if there are any like long breaks.
You know, Jack, you should keep on doing things like this. I could totally imagine you as a director's commentator. You would be a very good man. You would be a very good. You have that smooth like voice in your tone, so you'd be quite good at it. I'll tell you that, Jack.
Where I don't say anything. There's gonna be no cuts. I'm just going straight through the entire video.
That's what you should do. Whenever you're doing a presentation, don't add any cuts. Just say it like you would just say it as you would do a conversation with a normal person.
Please watch the original video if you haven't already, because you won't be able to hear it that well in this video. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. I'm gonna hit play in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the main method of me and Dummy working through the intro and outro is that we had a script that we agreed on. A couple of changes would happen during production, but he would send me previews of what he had done, and I would comment on them, give him timestamps and such. For the most part, it worked out quite well. There were a couple of things that I had to add, like that sniper voice line that wasn't originally in it. Couple of other sounds that I added, and the soundtrack was entirely my doing. You
did a good job for that soundtrack.
The final render came without music because SFM only outputs music in mono for some reason. Okay, here's where the voice actor for the phone came in. This voice actor I got from my Discord channel. I advertised it on my Discord channel, and this guy volunteered himself. His work is, he doesn't really have any work on YouTube. He's more of a talk over TF2 guy. Here's some Gary's Mod pictures that I made for this specific purpose. Yeah. Oh, I'm just really happy with how all this turned out, and unfortunately we couldn't get the correct rocket launcher or sniper rifle, but that's fine. What we ended up with was fine. And this aspect ratio change was made. Okay, so Source Boommaker's entry. The first version that they gave to us was, it had only a few songs and they sort of overlapped with each other. So I asked them to change the soundtrack and gave them a couple of suggestions for songs. They did, and they ended up with the mix that you just heard of 2 songs. It actually sounds kind of good. I didn't realize that was going to happen. Otter Cakington, he submitted his entry without music, so this song was added. I did request what song he'd like, and he said this song. That sound that you hear from the PDA, I added that.
Alright, mine's just coming up. I won't be mad at you, Jack, if you had criticized it, but I don't want to see what you say.
Overall, it's a very short entry. That's my only comment about Otter Cakington. Scott Mac's entry, I don't think anything changed.
He is correct. Nothing did change. It was just a full render, and that was it.
Yeah, I didn't change anything about this. There was, like, the whole collab had to go through minor edits to get rid of, like, fragments from previous frames, or Let me think. There was also a couple of flashing overlays, if you're familiar with Hammer. I'll talk about that later, especially in Sergio Gaming's entry. That's most relevant there. But yeah, most of this entry organizing just happened before the deadline. I was doing this the whole time. It was after the deadline where we worked on the intro and outro. Kian McWolfie, I actually got him. I reached out to him and asked him to make an entry, and he did. Unfortunately, it was too close to the deadline, so nobody from his circle of animators could send us anything. But definitely one of my favorite entries in the collab, besides mine. I just think he's a great animator. He uses the exact same inspiration that I do. Yeah, I don't have anything to talk about over the course of this. I guess I could talk about the scripting some more. So there were a couple of things that I had planned that Dummy had to change because it would be too much effort to animate, and I can totally understand. I make shortcuts like that in Gary's mod all the time. Yeah, stuff like running. He really doesn't want people to run. I mean, we had to during the intro, but there were some segments during the outro especially where movement was a real problem, especially after my outro. I should be talking about this. It's too early to be talking about the outro, but I'm sorry. Okay, Sergio Gaming. There was a lot of fragmentation of frames, and not fragmentation, like resampling, motion blur. But that's my favorite part. That part where Engie does the little ballerina dance. I laughed over that for several times watching this. Yeah, so there were a lot of fragments in the frames, as you can see. But I did my best to clean up like flashing overlays. Like you can see that keep area clear at all times sign in the background. That sign had a tendency to flash for some reason. So you can see right there was one frame of it flashing. I did my best to clean that up, but yeah. I'm earnestly hoping that this music doesn't get found out by the YouTube copyright bot. If it does, we may have to re-upload, depending on whether the video gets taken down or blocked in countries. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good animation, and it's definitely Sergio is learning.
Yeah, he is learning. He shows some signs of improvement, and I say some, but a very harsh italic bold on it. Some.
There were a lot of fixes happened towards the end. I faded out, and at the right time, I kept the screen black, kept the music going. Okay, Cycle and Chan. The music was entirely my idea. Get all the GoldenEye soundtrack.
A good thing for you too, Jack. I love the GoldenEye soundtrack. It's like, apart from the Team Fortress and some of the Animaniacs soundtrack that I faced, GoldenEye is one of my best N64 soundtracks I've ever heard. As basic as it is, and how you could hear the GoldenEye theme, well, not the GoldenEye theme, no, the James Bond theme throughout the entirety of it. I just love it, especially the last level, Cradle. Yeah, Cradle. Yeah, I love that one. It's just so dramatic, and there's also the Metal Style, which was also in Cycle Lynchin's video, which is really good. It's really good.
They didn't have a watermark, so I had to add that in myself. They did have a different Final Fantasy song at the end of their entry. However, I couldn't find the source, and it was too late to talk to them about what it was, because I had to make the credits. So I just came up with a Final Fantasy song that sounded very similar, and I used that. Polis Ranger, he actually submitted two completely different entries.
Yeah, I remembered that one day he was like, he sent one and I was like, this is neat. But then the next time he submitted another one. Funnily enough, you could actually see the second version in the end credits. You don't hear it, but you could see it. It's the one where the engineer gets run over by the Jeep. And it says, you failed.
That were roughly the same thing, but one was worse than the other. And yeah, we used this one. They basically followed the same plot line, but when he submitted his first entry, he had to be taught a little bit how to use stop motion in Gary's mod. He is also learning, but yeah, I'm overall happy with what he did. A couple of fixes I had to do with the volume of the entry, but yeah, nothing much. That's the RPG that we wanted to use, but I don't think it's even in Source Filmmaker, so we didn't get to put it in the intro.
Well, I know it's hard to get something like that, I would agree with you, but like, I mean, I don't know how to do that, and I've been wanting to try to do that, so I don't know. I was going to suggest we could try to find someone who could port things over from Gary's mod to SFM, because the rocket launcher, we both know, can be a prop, but I'm actually glad you actually, now that I think about it, I'm actually glad that you actually used the Team Fortress 2 rocket launcher, because think about it. All Team Fortress 2 classes, all Team Fortress 2 blood particles, maybe except the one on the decal at the wall, but it would look strange to have one Half-Life item in the mix of Team Fortress 2 stuff, so I think it was kind of better you actually did use the Team Fortress 2 rocket launcher. I just think that personally.
Alright, my entry's coming up. I gotta be careful not to talk about the story. Might be difficult. Okay. I still find Polis Ranger's voice funny. Like his inflection in that entry. Okay, if you want to see how this entry was made,
you can go over to your other channel. You don't think I check channels, do you, Jack? I'm just gonna tell you. Of course I've seen it. You use like a bunch of methods, but one thing I would suggest to you is the fact how on the Sonic Mania title thing with all title cards, you didn't have to separate them. There's a mod called the Sonic Mania title generator, and you can make up Sonic Mania titles. If you use that, you could have just selected one, I think it's the second one, where the background is still green screen but the text comes on. You could have used that, and that would have allowed you to do what you wanted to do. I'm not saying it was bad, it was very cleverly made, Jack. You are a very intelligent guy when it comes to filmmaking, and I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. I haven't met an online movie maker as talented as you are. Of course, there's like Spielberg and Michael Bay, but they're real life ones. They're ones that you could walk up to. But for you, Jack, you're like one of those pocket movie makers. If you want a movie, we could put you out of our pocket. Maybe ask for it. Maybe bribe you into it. Who knows? But you do a good job, Jack. You do a really good job.
I have a video on my second channel called Engie Terminates His Final Target, BTS. You can see it behind the credits, but basically it's a 4-panel sort of display with the different layers of the video project. And some layers, some parts of the video weren't included in the, yeah, some parts of the video didn't make it into the BTS because I lost the project files for some reason. I don't know how that happens. But, yeah, overall this is just, a whole lot of stuff all over the place. And the outro, is based around this because, well, you know, it's my entry, and since I have heavy involvement, I have to put it last and have it, and make it have a, substantial impact. I mean, people seem to like it, how the collab has such a, such a surprising ending, especially here.
If I have to be honest, it kind of reminds me of the work of Raxo, I think the guy's name is. The one that made the Soldiers Dispenser collab. It reminds me a lot about it. I think that's where you got it from, with the whole engineer with the 30 sign on it. That's like with the heavy. I think that's where you got it from. I don't know. But I just get that very high expectation, almost like the Force. The Force is telling me this is a prize one. Yeah, I'm a Star Wars weep.
Oh, this section went through a couple of edits. The pacing, the entirety of the audio was all mine. And I just had to edit crop dummies and trim dummies animation to fit the timing. Got that motion lines from green screen. This part of the animation relatively unchanged in terms of timing. I mean, all over the place, there are a couple of places where I slowed down the animation, but because Dummy's final render was in 60 frames per second, and the collab is in 30 frames per second, there was a lot of leeway. I was able to, do a lot more with, the project than expected. And you can see here in the credits that behind the credits are BTS versions of everybody's entries. Well, 3 of ours. So Source Boommaker is first. At that time, he called himself Alon Boom. Yeah. So this version of his entry is only slightly different. A couple of background characters are missing. Actually, all background characters are missing. And there's less camera movement. And here's the old Polis Ranger animation. There were a couple of things in that I liked, such as the scientist you saw that died just in the corner for no reason. But then it sort of derails into just a completely different story. You'll notice that in the entry that got published, he got a call and said, "You're not getting your money, goodbye." Whereas in this older entry, he actually, like, gets hurt by the G-Man and stuff, and then he talks with his boss again, and his boss runs him over. Polis Ranger sounded completely different in this entry, and I like that he used his normal voice for the newer version, because, his boss impression was really bad. Here's the BTS. It is behind the credits, so it's a little hard to see, but, again, video will be on my second channel. Yeah, this music for the credits is the exact same music from the second teaser. I actually realized that when I was actually watching it. I was like, I heard the music, I was like, I think they're calling back from one of the teasers. I remembered that, Jack, and it's nice that you called that out. Really liked it. I didn't like the music I used for the first teaser, so stuck with the one with the second teaser. And surely some other people have used it before, but at least it's not Kevin MacLeod. Yeah. And what a ride that was, like, I don't know, 4 months?
I normally round it up to 5 or 4 months. Oh no, we have done a good job
of working on the intro and outro, but it's finally here, and here's a little cliffhanger that we made. Who knows what happened. Yeah, so that was Engie's Hitman Adventures. Thanks for watching this, director's commentary. Be on the lookout for other videos on my channel soon enough. Make sure you, watch the original video. If you haven't, I don't know why you didn't watch it. You should have watched it. And leave a like and comment on that video, share it with your friends, and watch some reaction videos. I don't know. I know that Scott Mac has made one.
Hey, I get called out!
Yeah, just shop around and talk about the collab. We're hoping to do another collab soon.
Oh yay!
Maybe one with less rules.
Yay! Jack, please do that. I will be very happy to continue to work with you. You are just such an amazing guy. Thank you for calling me out, by the way. That's nice to know.
Because if you have, the more rules you have, the less participants you get. I know that for a fact.
And you are correct, my dear friend. That's why if I ever make a collab, it's just going to be like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 rules. Like, if I have to be honest, the true reason I joined was because at that time I was quite low in subscribers. I wanted to have a bit more, feel populated a bit. And I figured if I go on a collab, maybe I might get noticed a wee bit more. And this collab was the one that came up, and I'm really glad I did join. I've met a lot of very kind and very talented people, and they helped me and I helped them, and all in all, it has just been an amazing time working with all of you. If some people from the Discord chat is watching this, I am grateful to be working with you as an animator, and I will dedicate as much time as I can to help produce content which is good for Jack, Dummies, even our own channels. We will all work together and we will work as a team. I am glad that you all have came along together.
Because I've been in, I've seen many other collabs that are like that. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and see you guys later.
Well, Jack, you really have done something quite good. You should be proud of yourself, mate. You should really be proud. You've brought a lot of people together, you and your friend. And that concludes this episode of Reaction Time. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.